Hello everyone, this presentation is going to be about communicating change in our organizations for Management 535 at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, instructed by Dr. Earl Murray. So how do we, as management, effectively communicate change in our organization to our employees? Let's start with some simple definition of the words communicating: to share or exchange information, news, or ideas. Changed: make or become different. Something that we seem to understand very well is that there can be difficulty in communicating change, and the actual change itself can be difficult. Some of the things you can do is understand your employees, your entire business environment, and your company culture. This can help you out. Even as managers, we're going to have to ask ourselves, and we're going to question our decisions. Is this necessary? Is it a good idea? How is this going to benefit us? Your employees are going to have those same questions. The bigger issue for management is that we have to look at the strategies that we're going to use to communicate changes. How much information are we going to provide? What are the channels of communication we're going to use? And then who are going to be our key players in processing this information? In other words, who do we want to tell first, and who do we want to be there to help us to quell any rumors, to stop any negativity, to help everybody keep a good head and head in the right direction. One thing we can look at is there may be resistance, and that resistance may not come from a lack of employees wanting to improve, but instead from exhaustion. We could look at a little neuroscience here and understand that the human brain finds change differently because the human brain processes change in the same way that it processes fight or flight. In other words, because the brain wants to be able to predict changes, it's these uncontrolled changes, these unpredictable changes, that's going to cause the brain to go into survival mode. One of the advantages of being in management is that you've probably started off at a lower level somewhere, and you can look at that and use that experience, say, how well did you handle the change? How do you expect your employees to handle change and your coworkers to handle the change? You know, some of these changes may be major, some of them may be small. A small change would be, hey, the elevator's out or the escalator's out. I work on the second floor, I got to go up. But major changes that employees will be concerned with are things like, shutting down locations, wage changes, changes to health insurance. If you're in union bargaining, what's going to go on with that? There's a lot of factors to consider, and you really don't want to lead off with the wrong foot, and you're going to cause a lot of problems, and you're basically going to bomb, and then you're going to have many, many issues with these changes you're trying to communicate. For me personally, I have a military job and I also have a civilian job. And on the civilian side, we have a union, and Texas is a right-to-work state, so you don't have to be a member of the union. But what does the union do? The union negotiates our bargaining contract every 4 years. That includes our wages, our health insurance, promotions, the way people are hired. In total, it's 29 specific areas. When they communicate to us back about the bargaining and how it's going, they don't communicate all 29 areas. They don't want to, flood us with too much information. They hit the major points: wages, health insurance, retirement plans. So when information is communicated to the members and to the employees about what's going on with the bargaining agreement, one of the ways that they choose to get that information out, disseminate that information, is they use technology. So you look at, emails. It's private, personal emails. It's never emails associated with the company. There's also an app, and the app is free to download. It can be available iOS and Android, which covers about every smartphone available. The best part about an app is it's very simple. Click on it. There you go. There's the information you need. You don't have to dig through email. According to the Pew Research Center, in 2019, about 76% of people in advanced economic countries use smartphones. With an app, there's very low to almost zero cost for learning because people already have apps. People already use cell phones. It's well ingrained in society. The opportunity costs are also low because you're not taking away from one channel to add to another. You're just using a channel that already exists, that people are already using, that they're already familiar with. And of course, an app isn't perfect. You're never going to be able to fully replace face-to-face meetings and communication with an app because you're going to lose the tone, you lose the body language. But apps are customizable. There's also other technologies for people that can't be there Due to the pandemic, there's been some live streaming of the meetings. When it comes to any costs associated with switching technologies, again, something you're not really concerned with an app or with email, because people already have smartphones. They already have the apps available for multiple different platforms. The technology is mature enough where even laggards have adopted it. There aren't really any costs going to be associated with early adoption of technology. When it comes to data, information, knowledge, and action, the data that's collected is going to be to cover those 29 specific areas that are going to be addressed in the contract. Information they're going to gather is what's desired by other union members, what techniques are used by other unions, the wants that are negotiated successfully by other unions, areas of past contracts that want to be improved upon, and take that knowledge and they're going to put it in action. They're going to go into the meeting, confer. They're going to bargain with the employer. They're going to try to get what they want. There's going to be some back and forth, obviously. And of course, there is a deadline to prevent that from going on and on and on forever. We move on to providing performance feedback. Part of the process for the union is they hold meetings to share information. They gather feedback there. They allow the members to socialize with their other colleagues. You can ask questions. There's food that's served. Since it's their job to represent the employees in the negotiations, they want to make sure that they're doing a good job. They do have surveys in the contract. It's spelled out. Different articles in the contract cover disciplinary action, promotions and demotions, and then performance feedback and evaluations given by supervisors to the employees are all covered in the contract. When it comes down to communicating any change, the underlying theme would be, hey, there were no layoffs, and all around, everybody's getting raises. Concerns from different groups would include such things as individuals working night shifts want to make sure they're going to be paid a shift differential, something the day shift's not going to worry about for our first shift, and something first shift is going to be concerned with is there still going to be seniority that's recognized? That's something that really matters to them. Or in general, anybody with seniority, regardless of what shift they're covering. As far as any communication that needs to go outside the organization, say to other stakeholders, the local community, the families, those communications are done very similar to the app. They use social media. Again, the learning costs, the opportunity costs, the coordination, the switching costs, these are all relatively low. These technologies are very mature. They're very, the app, again, one advantage of that, if an employee feels there's an issue with an employer going against what's stated in the contract, it's a simple click, pull your phone out, pull up the contract, you can read it. One downside of that is the non-union members do not have access to that app, but since most of the employees are members, it's not hard to find somebody who will quickly let you use their phone or something, pull it up, look at the contract, and go from there. So in conclusion, we're looking at the selecting and using technology again, mostly adapting technology that already exists, is already mature. There's really reduced the cost there. Collecting data, gathering information from there. Again, it's previous contracts, other unions, what employees want, what union members want. Feedback is given directly to the union. The representatives of the union are elected. So again, they are also members. They want to do a good job. And as far as feedback goes, from managers to regular workers, that's all stated in the contract how that's done. And then the communication to change, you're looking for, you want to give good information, you don't want to give too much information, you don't want to throw people's routines off. You're looking for the big piece of information people are looking for, and that's wages, health insurance costs, and retirement. And that'll conclude this presentation.